Hi, loves. This is your Science Weekly Review. Remember, we are still in Unit 4, but the way that it has it broken up is in Unit 4 B. We're currently in Unit 4B, Lesson 1. So because this is like a whole new topic, we are talking about not just habitat, but living things within the habitat. So one of the pages I had you read was page 54 and 55 from your lesson. I wasn't able to post this video. It wouldn't let me for like your guys' interaction. So I'm going to do that right now with you guys. And then we're going to get into everything and we'll go from there. Okay, let me go and share my screen. We're going to start. All right, here we go. So we started with Unit 4B, Lesson 1, which was living things in a habitat. The first question that was asked was, what could live here? If you kind of look at this picture, we see it's like the ocean, it's frozen area. First thing that comes to my mind is possibly like Antarctica or like a frozen area, maybe like Alaska or some sort. Let's go ahead and see if it gives me any type of information. Let's see, go to the next page. Okay, so it's the Arctic. So this is the one that I was trying to upload for you guys, but it wouldn't. So I'm just going to show you guys what it says. It says tap on the orange spots below to learn the names of living things in the Arctic, okay? So right here we have some birds. Albatross? Albatross. Interesting. They look like seagulls almost. The humpback whale, it's a huge whale. And then this is like zoomed in on like little bugs, parasites. They are krill and plankton. Ooh, we have an orca, or some of us like to call them killer whales. And then here we have seals. So these are some of the animals that live in the Arctic. So that's their habitat. That's where they live. Let's go to the next page. So it says, look at the photo and explore the activity, which I just did with you guys. What do you observe? What questions do you have about the kind of this kind of habitat, and talk about the questions. So maybe you might want to know how cold it is there. That's what I would want to know. I would want to know, what else do I want to know? What do some of those animals eat? That'd be kind of cool, right? What are some of the options that they said? Oh, this is a did you know? Did you know the coldest place on Earth is Antarctica? Temperatures can fall to 92 degrees Celsius, which is below zero. Wow, I did not know that. Oh, crazy. Well, we use Fahrenheit and stuff, but wow, that's crazy. Okay, so now I'm looking at my schedule. We now have to go into, let's see, let me see if I can pull up my schedule so we can make sure that we're doing and checking off everything. I don't even know where I put my schedule, actually. Hopefully I have a safe spot. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, I found mine. Okay, so it said workbook page 54 to 55, which is what we just did. And then now we have to do page 57, 58, and 59. So let's go back to sharing my page. And we're in part B, lesson 1. Okay, so page 54, here we go. All right, so we have our pro page. This is where we set the stage for what we're going to learn about, and we're going to make a prediction. So it looks like we have 3 students. Let's see what it says. It says 3 friends are talking about where habitats are found and which friend has the best idea about habitats. Darius says, I think habitats are found on land. Aiko, I believe her name is Aiko. I think habitats are found in water. And Nancy says, I think habitats are found on land or in water. So one of them says just land, another one says water, and one says possibly both. So go ahead. Hopefully you guys already made your prediction in this case. I have my prediction in mind, and we're going to go straight into our phenomenon for the week. So we're talking about local habitats this week, and we're talking about what living things can be found in certain places. So we're going to be even talking about places where we live, okay? So it looks like you know, we have our school, and unfortunately we're going to be kind of doing it more from like at our homes, you guys. But they're talking about like maybe habitats that might be found at your school or possibly at your house. Okay. All right, so before we answer this question, we are going to watch the video called A Worm's Habitat. Oh my gosh, let's check this out. So that was kind of cool. I've never seen a worm up close. So this is a habitat like where it lives, and I'm noticing that there's dirt, there's rocks, there's leaves, there's grass. So we're talking about what we're observing in his area. All right, and the question states, look at the photo of the playground and watch the video. Circle the living things that you observe on the playground. How is the worm's habitat the same as the playground, and how is it different? What do you wonder about habitats? Write your questions here. So we have a lot to answer. So first things first, here's the playground. Let's see. It's super hard for me to kind of zoom in, but I mean, obviously I would circle like the kids. Those are living things, right? We also have trees, which are living things. Oh, I guess I could draw and stuff. I'm not going to. There is a did you know, but we're going to get into that in a second. So let's see. What did you guys write down? How is the worm's habitat the same as the playground? Well, maybe you can tell me that it's the same because there's grass, just like the worm had some grass in his. There's dirt. How is it different? I would say that it's different because this has like sidewalks. There's a building in this one, some playground equipment. What are things that you wonder about the habitat? So let's see what some of their answers were. How many different kinds of habitats are there? So what are all the different types of habitats? They want to know, can some plants and animals live in different habitats? Those are good questions. I hope you guys had some really good ones too. All right, did you know that many habitats can be found underground? I did not know that. That's interesting. Think about, make a little prediction right now. What kind of animal would you find living in a habitat underground? Maybe it burrowed itself. And we've talked about burrowing, didn't we? Okay. All right. So actually we can check off everything from Monday. We did the workbook pages and the video. So let's go ahead and get into Tuesday's lesson. Before I get into Tuesday's lesson, I do want to just quickly touch base again on your science. Remember a couple things. I'm on a different schedule with science because I have to go through things a little bit faster. So there are times where we will be skipping a lot of experiments. Now, although I am not doing the experiment, you guys can totally do it. The reason why we did not do this inquiry activity is because it required you guys to do observations at home, and there wasn't a video for me to show you what it looks like. So just so you guys know, if you skipped the inquiry activity on page 60, you guys can do it for fun. It's actually really cool because it has you like look at certain areas like in your backyard if you guys have it, or a front yard. So I'm not asking you guys to do this, but if you guys have like a free day, maybe even on Friday when all of your science is done, maybe do this activity. It actually looks like a lot of fun. I might do it, but it has you like look for different areas in your backyard or in your front yard, and you choose an area by putting like a string around it, and you're just observing within that string and seeing what animals live there. And then so the whole point of it is for you to figure out which area of your house has a lot more living creatures. I don't know. I think it looks super cool. So if you guys have a chance, do 60 and 61. Have your parents send me a picture if you end up doing it. Maybe I can give you guys some dojo points. But it was a fun activity. I just wasn't able to get through it. So I'm sorry about that. But on Tuesday, let me pull up what our schedule is. Okay, so for Tuesday's lesson, it looks like we have workbook page 62 to 63. We have a video called Backyard Habitats, and then 64 to 65. All right, so let's get straight into that. Okay, so 60, all right, here we go. Before I start this, some of the vocabulary words I wanted you guys to look at and to think about when you're reading. The vocabulary words are habitat, shelter, and survive. All right, habitats. The living things you observed on the playground all get what they need from their habitat. So basically, if let's just say that we saw a butterfly on the playground or maybe in your backyard, kind of think about, even though we're talking about school, you could talk about your backyards too, okay? So if I'm talking about a butterfly, that area where the butterfly is currently at, it would be able to find the water that it needs to survive, the food, like the flowers that it needs to survive to eat, maybe somewhere to sleep, somewhere safe. So a habitat is a place where plants and animals live. If you have a pencil or a highlighter, that is something you might want to highlight. That's important information. A habitat provides the food, water, and space plants and animals need to live and grow or to survive. I'm going to highlight that too. That's a really good one. So a habitat provides the food, water, and plants, or sorry, and a place for like something to survive or to live for both plants and animals so that they could successfully live and grow and ultimately to survive, right? There are many kinds of habitats. Some are hot and dry, and others have a lot of rain. Some places are actually cold. So right here, it looks like we have a desert tortoise. We've read about a desert tortoise. It says a desert tortoise can survive up to a year without fresh water. Wow. Which is probably why it could survive in the desert, because it doesn't rain a lot, since we've learned that. So that's actually interesting that a desert tortoise can actually survive without a lot of water. And their habitat is a hot and dry place. That's actually super interesting. I did not know that. All right, next page. Before I get to the next page, let's go ahead and watch the video together. We're watching Watch Backyard Habitats to explore different things that can be found in a variety of local places.
Take a look at this grassland prairie. It is covered in grasses, plants, and trees. There are hills and mountains around it. Guess what big city is on this same land now? It's Los Angeles. The city that currently looks like this used to look like this. Hundreds of years ago, before people began building huge skyscrapers, homes, and roads, Los Angeles was covered in grasses, wildflowers, and redwood and sycamore trees. Many animals lived in the Los Angeles area. It is believed that there were about 7,000 pronghorn antelopes there in the 1880s. There were also a lot of grizzly bears, mountain lions, and coyotes. There were many birds, such as condors and sparrows. Gray squirrels, rabbits, raccoons, and skunks also lived in the Los Angeles area. There was plenty of space for these animals. There were many places for them to find shelter. There were plenty of plants for antelopes and other plant-eating animals. Other animals, like grizzly bears and mountain lions, would find smaller animals to eat. Animals were able to get the water they needed from the Los Angeles River and the many ponds and streams in the area. This is what Los Angeles looks like now. People have built skyscrapers, businesses, homes, and roads. This changed the environment. It has changed the habitat for the plants and animals that live there. There are still sycamore and redwood trees in Los Angeles, but there are a lot fewer. There are also much fewer grasses and wildflowers. Some of the animals that lived in this area were able to survive the changes to the environment. Some were not. There are not grizzly bears in the Los Angeles area now. Many grizzly bears were hunted by the people that came to live in this area. Pronghorn antelopes, mountain lions, and coyotes still live close to Los Angeles in the hills surrounding the city. Birds such as condors and sparrows are still living in the Los Angeles area, as are raccoons, skunks, and rabbits. There are some new species of animals now living here. For example, rats, opossums, Italian lizards, and fox squirrels. Opossums can find food lots of places because they eat a lot of different foods. They eat insects, grains, fruit, snails, earthworms, snakes, mice, and other small animals. Animals that live near people must adjust to the changed environment to survive there. For example, raccoons look for food in dumpsters and trash bins. Many people put out bird feeders for birds. Squirrels also enjoy the bird food. Other animals, such as rabbits, often find food in lawns and gardens. Animals sleep during the day and wake up at night to look for food. This is helpful for animals that live near people. It makes them less likely to be seen. Some animals have learned to cross the street without being hit by cars. Animals have also found different types of shelter. Many animals, such as skunks, build their homes under porches or houses. Some birds living near people build their nests in unusual places. Look where this bird built her nest. What are some animals that live close to you? Do you think those animals had to adapt to be able to live so close to people?
Very cool. All right, so that was a good little video. I loved all the little rabbits and stuff. All right, so what a plant or animal needs can tell you what kind of habitat it needs. So for example, it looks like here's an animal, there's some water and some grass. It says grass and wet. This is the type of habitat. What do these animals need from their habitat? So what's something that this one might need? It might need some fresh water daily, maybe some grass plants to eat, right? These reindeer, it looks like, live in like a snowy area, and this is a climate that is cold and snowy. So what might those types of animals need from that type of habitat? Maybe they don't need to have fresh water every day, or maybe they don't need to have green grass. So that's kind of interesting to think about maybe what a reindeer needs, especially because in the snow, they don't get fresh water like we do, or fresh grass during that time. So that's really interesting to think about. All right, let's go ahead and go to page 64. A beautiful grassland area. So it says different plants and animals need different kinds of habitats. Some plants need a lot of sunlight. Others grow best with a little bit of sunlight. Some plants need a lot of water, and other plants grow best in a dry habitat. So we're definitely learning that plants don't all need the same amount of water. They don't all need the same amount of sun. It says write a caption for the photo above and tell what these plants need from their habitat. So these plants look like they're growing out of the water. So if it's growing in water, it probably needs what to survive? Probably a lot of water. So some of the sample answers were, these plants grow best in a wet habitat. So I like that they use the word habitat. That's kind of important, right? All right, so that was page 64. I think you need to go find page 65 for us. Right here. Oh my gosh, what is that? How cute. Page 65. Am I supposed to do page 65? Let me double check. Yes, I'm supposed to do page 65. Okay. I'm gonna stop and then reshare just to make sure it's actually showing. Okay, so page 65 says living things use their habitats. Animals use the plants living in their habitat for food. Some animals eat other animals that live in some habitat. Animals also use their habitat for shelter, or a place that gives protection from weather or from danger. Some animals dig holes in the ground to stay cool. Others use plants for shelter. So it looks like this bird right here is actually using the cactus, right, for shelter. Or maybe it's going to be eating stuff off the cactus, right? It says a bird's nest inside, is inside this cactus. That's really cool. I think there was a question. Oh, it's on the next page. The question says, what do different plants and animals in the habitats all have in common? So in these habitats, what do they have in common? Use what you've learned about habitats to explain. Oh my gosh, look at this mole. He digs in the soil to find food and shelter. So think about this mole and then the bird that was in the cactus. The question is, what do different plants and animals use in the habitats, and what do they have in common? So let's see. So I know that he's probably digging for food, right? And if he burrows underground, he can live there and be safe, just like the bird can live in that cactus, right? So they're both using stuff within their environment to keep them safe and possibly find food. So this mole, I'm sure he's looking for something delicious in the dirt, but he could dig deep down into the ground where he's not, you know, going to be eaten by another animal, just like that bird. A sample answer was, they all get what they need to survive from their habitat. So remember, to survive, you need to have water, you need to have food, and you need to have a safe protection, which is called a shelter. All right, so that was our Tuesday activity. Let's see what's on the schedule. So check all of that off. We did our workbook pages. What else did we do? We did our videos. Okay, so now for Thursday, we need to do the simulation video called California Habitats, and then we need to work on page 60, 60, 67. The reason why you guys are actually going to be doing your own research for this, and if you did not have access to the research, the video should have helped you. So let me pull that up. We are looking for, no, I think it's this one right here. Cancel. Okay. Living things in the habitat. So I'm on the inquiry page, the yellow side, right? All right, before we start, oh, we actually have to do the video first, I think, right? Yeah, at the end of here. I'm gonna start with the video first. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's not a video, it's actually it's an interactive one. Explore the map to learn about different habitats in California. So here is a map of California. This is, you know, where we live, okay? Sorry, we don't need that. So, and remember, we've learned about keys. So we have keys and symbols. So anything that's green is called the Central Valley region. So this right here is the Central Valley region. Orange is the coastal region. Coastal means it follows the coast of like where land and water meet. So here is the coast of California. Mountain regions is this pink section. Obviously, you guys know what mountains are. And then this yellow part is considered the desert. And remember, kind of think about that habitat. It's super dry, right? And not, it's super dry and hot. If you find the star, that is where our state capital is right here. So the state capital of California is Sacramento. And then other cities, they have them dotted. So we have, this one is San Diego, Palm Springs, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Fresno, San Francisco, Eureka. Yeah, they've got some good things. And here is my compass, and you guys know that, right? All right, so typically we're going to connect to Los Angeles because we are in this area. So if you look closely, we're in a coastal region. So because Los Angeles is in orange, we're in a coastal region. So we're gonna start here. Oh, I can't click on that, I'm sorry. So let's see what's in the Mojave Desert. It says the Mojave Desert is very dry. The desert gets less than 6 inches of rain each year. The Joshua tree is one of the only types of trees that can grow in this landscape. Other plants include bushes, cacti, and short grasses. Desert animals such as lizards are adapted to survive this extreme hot and cold, like their weather, okay? Let's check out Santa Barbara. This is along the coast, so this is very similar to what you would see like in our area of Los Angeles. In coastal areas of California, there are grasslands and beaches. The plants and animals in these habitats like dry soil, tall grasses, and the ocean breeze. Birds like the seagulls live on the coastal areas. Okay, let's check out right here, which is in the mountains. The meadows in the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains are flat plains. You guys know what plains are, that there's no hills. They enjoy the flat plains between the tall mountains. These meadows habitats support a variety of flowers, tall grasses, and small burrowing animals. So burrowing are the ones that go and dig underground. Oh, San Francisco. That's more in, I think they're pointing to the ocean part of it, okay? So this is more in the Pacific Ocean. California is on the Pacific Ocean. The ocean habitat includes saltwater plants and animals such as seaweed, coral, and saltwater fish. What do we have going on here in the mountain regions? Oh, this is more on like a river. The American River is one example of a freshwater river habitat in California. Freshwater habitats support a variety of plants and fish, including the king salmon, the Chinook king salmon. That's pretty cool. All right, so near Mount Shasta, what do we have? In Northern California, there are redwood forests. These forests have large sequoia trees and a variety of plants and animals. Okay, awesome. That was super cool. Okay, so now that I've gone through that simulation video, I'm gonna go back to our questions, okay? So the first question says, make a prediction. What kinds of plants and animals can be found where you live? So kind of think about where you are. Most of you guys are in Cerritos, maybe Long Beach, Hawaiian Gardens, like within this area. I'm gonna just say Cerritos just for right now because that's what I'd be talking about if we were talking about school. But think about where you guys live, okay? What kinds of plants and animals can be found where you live? So I'm gonna think about what I see at Whitman. I see squirrels like crazy when I drive down the street. I don't know about you guys, but I always see little snails and lizards always like kind of hiding under the grass and stuff when I walk into school. I see plants. The whole street of Yvette, where Whitman is full of these purple trees called jacaranda trees. Think about the trees that we have in our backyard or possibly what you guys have. Maybe you have a lemon tree. Maybe you guys see a bunch of cats or dogs, right? Those are what you guys see. These are all observations. So not everyone's gonna have the same answer and that's okay. All right, so we need to do a little bit of research, right? It says research the kinds of plants and animals found in your area. Research the needs of those plants. So what do they need to survive? And then research the weather in the area where you live. Okay, so write the names of living things. So for plants, just for example, I'm gonna say jacaranda tree. And I'm just giving my own examples. If you guys wanna use what we see at Whitman, I'm okay with that. So, let's see. I see grass. Ooh, okay, Google, spell jacaranda tree. Jacaranda trees. What else do I see? I see pine trees. Trying to think. I'm gonna kind of stick there. If you guys see other ones, that's cool. Some of the animals that I see, I've seen lizards, right? What else have I seen? I've seen birds, butterflies, snails, cancel. Yeah, so you guys can just start listing stuff. That's just some of the stuff that I've listed. Maybe you guys have found something specific to where you're living, and that's totally fine. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so communication log. Number 5 says, what does your area have that animals need? So when I think about Whitman, I think that there's a lot of food to eat. There's tons of plants, other little animals that that the birds might want to eat, squirrels like seeds and stuff. So I would say that the trees have seeds for them. There's people around, so I know that people leave food for birds, which I mean, it's not natural, but that's true. Sometimes birds will go where people are. I would say that in California where we live, I mean, we consider it like a drought type of area, but we do get a lot of rain, enough where, you know, plants can obviously survive. So my area has like a lot of places for animals to hide because there's tons of trees at Whitman, lots of grass. The building actually kind of gives a bunch of safe places and plants for like the snails and the lizards that I mentioned. So that's just what I think. You guys can have different ideas. Number 6 says, why do you think that the plants and animals live near you? For example, with birds, I mentioned that the birds are near Whitman because I think that they see all you kids drop all your snacks at recess, and I think that that's where they like to come out. I think the squirrels love all the trees that we have by Whitman. I really do. I think that that's what they really enjoy. We have a lot of sunlight in California, so I think the trees are happy with like having as much sunlight as they need. Plants can grow there too. Like I said, it's okay to have a different answer from me. Is that everything? Yeah, that was pretty much all of what we needed, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, I think that's good. So we have completed, let me check. We've completed Wednesdays. Let's go ahead and check out Thursdays. We need to do page 70 and 71. So we are now revisiting our page and revisiting the probe page. Let me go ahead and share our screen again. So before I get to our review, let me go back to our probe page and let's see if you guys want to make a change to your prediction, okay? Remember there was a prediction of 3 kids talking about where do animals live for the habitats. Just a reminder, you were supposed to choose one of the students that you agreed with. Darius said, I think the habitats are found on land. I think habitats are found in water. And then Nancy says, I think habitats are found in land and water. So if you want to make a prediction change, you may do so right now. So I want to know, who did you go with? Let's find out our answer. The answer was Nancy. Habitats are found both on land and water. The reason why, plants and animals live both on land and in water. So we even just kind of, when we were doing our, that one page where we saw those tall grasses growing out of water, we know that fish live in water. So it's true, habitats can happen both on land and in water. So if you did that, good job, you guys. Let's go ahead and finish our lesson review. I'm on workbook page 70 now, and then I have to get to 71. All right, on page 70, you were supposed to review what living things can you find here, specifically talking about a school. Explain what kinds of living things could be found on this schoolyard. So kind of look at this picture right here. Some of the ideas were, you could find insects in trees and grass on the field. Totally true. So we have, those are all living things. We've got trees, grass, and you know what's in grass. You're gonna find some bugs, right? So that's why they talked about insects. Page 71 has a question for us. It says, which statement best tells why a plant lives in its habitat? So think about a plant. Why would it live there? What does a plant need? A plant needs water, food, and some type of shelter, right? Because it doesn't, I mean, if I've got a car driving over it, that's not somewhere safe for a plant to grow. So what was your answer? Which sentence best tells why a plant lives in a habitat? A, the habitat has many of the same kinds of plants. B, the habitat has what the plant needs. C, the habitat has the same weather all year. Is that true? Do we have sunny weather all year round? Think about that, okay? Or D, the habitat has few animals that will eat the plants. So what did you guys say? Let's see. So which one did you guys say? If you said the habitat has many of the same kinds of plants, that's not true. They're not always gonna have the same types of plants. Think about Whitman, there's tons everywhere. If you said B, the habitat has what the plant needs, we're gonna hold on to that. D says the habitat has the same weather all year. That's not true. Think about where we live. It doesn't rain every day, right? And then D says the habitat has few animals that will eat the plant. Well, if you think about Whitman, that's not true. There's plants that are eaten all the time. Let's check our answer. We were correct. So the correct answer is the habitat has what plants need. So plants will survive where it has the right amount of water that it needs, the right amount of food that it needs or soil, and the right amount of shelter or the type of shelter, okay? Number 2 says, explain why some animals might be able to live in more than one kind of habitat. Think about a bird. Remember, birds can live near the ocean, maybe in the pond, maybe in inland, mountains. Think about a bird specifically. Why can an animal, such as a bird, be able to live in more than one kind of habitat? The answer that they gave us was some animals are able to live in 2 different habitats because both habitats meet the animal's needs. So for example, if I talk about, a bird that lives like near the pond, because kind of we wrote about that, a pond has fresh water to drink. There's animals and bugs for it to eat, right? And it can live maybe in like a bush, so it has the shelter. If I talk about maybe the ocean, sometimes by the ocean it has fish that it can eat. It has trees near the ocean, and then when it comes to water, they might have to go and like search a little bit more inland, but they could find fresh water somewhere from like rainwater. So as long as the habitat has what an animal needs, it's going to be able to survive. All right, my loves, that's pretty much it for science. It was a good week. Yeah, totally do that experiment if you guys have a chance, especially this weekend. It shouldn't be too hot. Maybe you guys can have some fun and be scientists in your backyard or something. If you guys do anything, have your parents send me a picture, or you guys can write to me about what you did. I would love to hear about it. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I miss you all. Bye.